All right, moving on, man. Koby Altman got extended, but before we talk about that, it's time to hear from Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with your friends or family? Maybe it's a game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to the first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals. Clear seat views and a lower price guarantee that takes worry out of buying. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easier to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game like the Cleveland Guardians versus the A's this Friday on Channel KYC if you're not going to be there in person. Take the guess out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On NFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
All right, guys. Well, we think about the Guardians a lot as having continuity. Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers is starting to do the same thing. And by the way, I didn't know he was there this long. Koby Altman and his entire staff get an extension at 29 and 29-30. This is a statement from Dan Gilbert. He says, Koby Altman has demonstrated that he is the right person to lead this franchise. He is not only an outstanding team builder, but he has also created an exceptional culture that transcends the basketball side of our business and serves as a positive foundation and philosophy for the entire franchise, Gilbert said in the statement. Koby not only has a great nose for basketball talent, but he has also recruited and developed an extraordinary front office talent as well. This unique combination has positioned our franchise to compete for championships for years to come. It's only right I got to throw this out too. My man Jason Lloyd, who's known Koby for a while, covered him with the Cavs. They best pals. Your thoughts on the extension?
Wait a minute. Wait, before you go, he's watching. Go ahead.
No, I mean, he's done a great job in rebuilding this team. He deserves it. He's earned it. When LeBron left the first time, I kind of looked at like how long does it take to rebuild a franchise, right? When you lose a star player in free agency, and that's what happened here twice. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when he left the second time to LA, it was a free agent as well. And what have the Chicago Bulls done since Michael Jordan?
Nothing. Derrick Rose was their last.
Him and Joakim Noah.
The Bulls have been irrelevant for 30 years.
Well,
20 years.
Hold on.
They've been irrelevant.
Derrick Rose had them in the playoffs
for 2 years.
Okay,
and then they ran into LeBron.
Yeah, and then they ran into LeBron.
I mean, that was
so I don't think like to be able to lose a star, tear this thing down to the studs, and rebuild it within 10 years is really, really rare. And he's done a great job of doing that. And they've done it through trades, drafts, and free agency pick. Like, they've kind of hit on all three. Obviously, they nailed the Mobley pick, the Garland pick. In free agency, they were able to get Max Strus to come here. That's a big thing that, like, at the time, I remember thinking and writing, like, hey, that's a big deal. Because Cleveland, for years, the stigma has been you can't get free agents to come here. And Max filled a big need, and at the time was a pretty big name in free agency. And so to be able to land him and get him to come here, they've developed talent on the margins. They may be doing it again with a guy like Naquan Tomlin. I saw him in Summer League last week. He had a great game, and he's another guy on a two-way deal they're trying to bring along, kind of in the mode of Dean Wade. And yes, we've all ripped Dean for his work in the postseason, but to find an undrafted free agent, give him a 3-year guaranteed contract, and be able to get production out of him is significant. So they've done a nice job at all three layers of rebuilding this thing and putting it back together. And the flip side of that is sort of how Dan has viewed his general managers and how he has taken that position, because for many, many years, Dan never really valued the role of GM. And Griff was, I believe, the lowest paid general manager when he was here. And again, we're going back to before Dan had a lot of his health issues, but throughout the course of his time as owner, Danny Ferry made a ton of money and he had a ton of power. And then Ferry was fired. And then Chris Grant came in and he made less money and had less power. And then he was fired, and then David Griffin, it was just always next man up. And Griff came in, made even less money, had even less power. And with every guy, he sort of stripped away another level of power and stripped away another zero on the check. That was just one area that I never really valued. And then obviously Koby came after Griff. And then Dan has the health issues. And I know it's sort of reshaped how he runs this organization. And Koby was the first one to get an extension. I think he's now gotten 3 extensions from Dan in terms of that role. So he's moved up to president. Mike Gansey obviously had moved to GM. That was a few years ago. So they've got a good thing going, and they want to keep this thing together. Now the key is you've come this far. Now can you get it over the top and win the championship? They are the most expensive team in the NBA now. After Boston made its cuts, after Phoenix made its cuts.
They did a fire sale.
The Cavs have the highest payroll now in the NBA.
Let me ask you.
And now you got to win it.
Do you think, because they asked me this on the radio, our producer asked this when I was doing radio this morning, do you think the Cavs win a championship this decade, as in before 2030? What do you think, G? Because I said no, but I want to hear what you say.
Oh, boy.
It's tough.
The Cavs are in a little bit of a predicament because I think that they're the best team in the East. Barring something crazy happening, I can see them this year going to the finals. The problem is this: are you better than OKC? I think we keep saying the East, right?
Who's their biggest threat? The Knicks in the East? Is that who's second for?
I mean,
Man,
it might be Orlando.
I think
Orlando.
So if you get past them, I think sometimes we compartmentalize it and say, "Oh, we got to the finals," and then anything can happen. But going back to where the Cavs played the Warriors, we weren't worried about the Eastern Conference. We was like, "How do we match up with them?" And I think if you look at it from angles, you can see where there's a chance.
You don't think we match up well against the Thunder?
The Thunder play hard. Man, they're nerve wracking. They let the Thunder do a lot of stuff, Jason. They play the way they play defense. And
OKC is sort of the kryptonite because they're really long and they're really athletic and they get up and down the floor, and that's one of the things that the Cavs struggle with. But it's funny when you say like 5 years. This team is going to look drastically different 2 years from now.
Yeah, it's a 2-year window.
Technically, yes, because they're not going to be in April.
And I'm kind of working on a piece now on this.
They
Wait, will it come out this year?
Shut up.
That was good.
It'll come out this week. It'll come out this week, maybe.
That was good.
They're a second apron team this year.
Okay.
They could get out of the apron after this season. Prior to next season, it's going to take some maneuvering.
They would have to get rid of one of their core 4 pieces?
They would have to probably trade DeAndre or Max or something. And I'm not talking 25-26. I'm talking 26-27.
Okay.
They would – I think the Lonzo contract was sort of a piece to help get them out of the second apron if that's the route they want to go. So you could be in the second apron for 2 years and still be okay. It's the third year where they really nail you. But the draft pick, the 2032 draft pick will be frozen now. So you can't trade it because they're a second apron team. So that pick has already been frozen. So it's really a 2-year window, and they may have to, if they want to get out of the second apron after this season, then that would require significant changes already prior to next year. But then after these next 2 seasons, then Donovan's up, and the next contract for Donovan is over $65 million. Is where that would be the starting point on a new deal for him. So they've got.
How old is he?
29.
So he'll be 31.
29.
He'll be 31, 31.
That's
still good money.
Ty, I'm going to say.
So when you say 5 years, it's going to look a lot different in 2-3 years from now.
I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to reluctantly say no. Reluctantly.
Okay.
Because I do think they got a puncher's chance if they can get to the finals.
Well,
and if they got some growth that, Mobley has some growth, and then Darius Garland has some growth in there. I think that the hesitant part for me is that's why people, when they say, why are you clamoring for LeBron, you always talk about him. And I'm like, well.
LeBron come back, that changes a lot.
Because it's not so much the skill, It's the know-how in that spot. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're paying the premium for. It's the know-how in that moment to get the most out of said guy here, or the pass that I needed to make right here, or the cryptic message that I'm going to send to this guy. That kind of stuff annoys people, but it works, to be honest with you. But as constituted, they got a good shot. I'm going to reverse the question and give it to you. Does this contract mean that Koby Altman is an elite general manager?
Yeah, I mean,
Elite.
I guess
Elite?
What would be
Elite.
your
I
definition?
mean, yeah, like that. How
you
can you
probably got to win a championship.
Yeah, I'm about to say, how can you be elite without a champion?
I mean,
You know what's interesting about that is, like, so I talk to a lot of these guys about this. When you get like one shot at this, unless you win a championship, unless you're a former player. If you're a former player, you can get multiple jobs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a former player, if you get a GM job, you get like one shot at this, and that's it. It's rare to get a second bite at the apple unless you win a championship. And we saw that with David Griffin. Griff wins a title here. He's able to go to New Orleans, and he gets a second job. I don't know if Griff's going to get another job now as a head guy. I don't know. He does have the title on his resume still. So I say that only to say that, like, how do you define elite, and what's the definition of elite? He's very, very good at what he does.
So Sam Presti, right? I would say, when you call him elite before he even won. See, you see how you said it was no hezzy?
But he was the way he mastered the trade.
There it is.
He got
there it is.
A ton of first round.
There it is.
He got like 3 first round. He got like 15 first round.
He lost Harden, Durant, Westbrook, Paul George, Chris Paul.
But all of that led to him SGA.
All that led that, and he still got the picks, and he still
got
hit
the
on
picks.
But in a way, I mean, Sam did it. Sam stockpiled a ton of draft assets through trading his stars.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe's star left as a free agent. He didn't get anything for him.
Yeah.
So when you look at that,
Yeah, well, he had one star he traded.
But you got to
First year on the job.
oh, get out of here with that.
What? He did.
Here's the thing too. They actually got, and you have to. I think this extension came about because he did roll the dice and he did trade for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
And then he got him to stay.
That was a huge gold star in his column because, I mean, we talked about it for years. I wrote about it. The whole league was convinced Donovan was leaving. And had the Knicks not made some of the moves that they made, maybe this turns out differently, but that doesn't matter because the Cavs knew the risks. They made the deal. They pushed all in on Donovan knowing that he could leave, and he didn't. And so regardless of whatever the reasons were for him to sign the extension, all that matters is he signed the extension and he stayed. As soon as he signed the extension and stayed, the Cavs won the trade. And if you look at what Utah has done, where they bundled a bunch of those Cavs picks and moved off them, like Utah hasn't really been able to put the wheels back on since the Donovan trade. They're still sort of spinning their wheels a little bit.
I'll give it to him. Listen, you gotta give credit where credit is due. He pulled off the Donovan Mitchell deal. He pulled off the DeAndre Hunter move. Right now, people say, "Well, that got him in a luxury tax," but that pretty much bought you the guy that you needed.
They got Hunter and they cut enough money that they got under the tax so that they didn't start the repeat offender clock. So that was
dope.
It was a good move.
It was dope.
There are people who didn't like that move. I've talked to people in the NBA who didn't like it. I thought it was a great move at the time. I still think it was a great move. He's so versatile. He can play different spots. Now, we'll see after this year. Again, it depends on what their priorities are. If they want to get under the apron, they're going to have to make some decisions after this coming season, but that's for down the road. We don't have to worry about that right now.
Yeah, he's done. Listen, he's done. And by the way, I threw this out, and I was talking to, this was when Bull was on, and I was telling him, I said, low key, now everybody gives Evan Mobley a little bit of a hard time, and Darius Garland to a certain extent, right? I think most of it is because Darius Garland is good, but he's just not Kyrie. So it's just like, okay.
There ain't many who are.
It ain't many. But I told him, when you go back and look at Evan Mobley, and you got to give him credit for really developing him, I said, listen, this guy made, and I keep questioning myself. He made second team All-NBA, right?
He's 24 years old. Yeah.
He makes, watch this, second team All NBA,
Defense player.
first team All NBA defense, defensive player of the year, All-Star. Tell me, besides LeBron, who has had a better season than that statistically ever?
Mark Price.
No.
Brad Doherty.
No. Kyrie didn't even do that. He second team All NBA, first team defense, defensive player of the year, All-Star. That's crazy.
The defense part is
Like that so they actually do get points on a dollar just because they did develop him. Darius Garland, they made the right choice between Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. Because remember, that was a thing. Remember when they had Colin Sexton here at first, people said they need to get rid of Colin Sexton.
All right, question on that.
Jason was one of them.
Because I agree he
Get
made
rid
the
of
right
Colin?
choice between players, but was the contract extension to DG? Was that overpriced?
Nope.
Was that an overpay?
Nope.
Yes, it's an overpay.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is,
No,
but
it
you
ain't.
have to.
No,
You
he
have to.
deserved
Because he
every
was the
penny
first
of
guy
it.
up.
In the situation that they were in, I mean, there's a lot of max contracts in the league now. You can look at and say, is that guy really a max player? And the answer is probably no. But it's just the state of the league right now that these guys are getting these deals. I mean, I mean, whatever with Colin, but they passed on SGA. Like they could have drafted SGA.
Hey,
so.
hold on. All right, you're right. You're right.
But it worked. But it
out.
worked because Colin brought you Donovan. So it's still
Right.
Colin was one of the pieces that brought you Donovan. So, but the Mobley thing is interesting because like usually your best piece comes first. We've talked about this before. Normally your best piece comes first, and then you're bad for a couple more years, and you're trying to put a couple more pieces around him. But now all of a sudden he's up for an extension already, and so by the time you get good again, your best player is already on year 4. And now you've only got like 2 or 3 years to win with him, and now he's going to leave and go to a bigger market. The interesting thing with where the Cavs were with Mobley was he was sort of the piece that they dropped in last. And then I'm not counting Donovan on this because he was a trade. I'm just talking like in draft pieces that they drafted, guys they drafted. Evan came last, so you have a longer sort of runway with him. And now he signed his max, and now the max kicks in now, but you still have his full first max contract years to ride this thing out, and he continues to get better and better and better. So it buys you more time when your best piece comes last. Evan has won at a high level every year he's been here because he was the last piece to come and because the Donovan trade sort of came at the same time. So they've been really, really good the whole time he's been here. That's highly unusual for a young player like that. And at times I think it's stunted his development a little bit because growing Evan Mobley wasn't the primary focus. The primary focus was winning basketball games. And that's really unusual with a young player with a high ceiling like that. A lot of times you're spending his first year or two sort of force feeding him. You're going to lose games, but he's learning. You're trying to get him comfortable in different things. And that wasn't the case with this team because they were trying to make the playoffs and they were trying to win basketball games, sometimes at the expense of Evan. And I think that's part of the reason why it took him a little bit longer to sort of get to the level that we saw last year.
Wow. Earl, we're going to get to Guardians here coming up here in a couple of minutes, but you want to get to a read?
Yeah, before I get to a read, we did another poll in the UCSS chat. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all smash that like button, by the way. Do you like the Koby Altman extension? 81% says yes. 19% says no. 247 votes.
Why would you not like it, though? I don't understand why people would not like it.
Well,
His contract doesn't count against the cap.
You're
so,
right. It's the backlash.
Well, just judging by some of the comments, some people feel like Koby has been mediocre.
That's insane.
Is that what they saying in the comments?
I mean,
I seen one or two.
That's insane.
I mean,
Again, do you know how hard it is to rebuild a small market team in a cold weather climate where free agents don't want to go? And to build that thing, to lose,
he lost LeBron. He lost Kyrie and LeBron.
And
I think some people.
Well, he did. He did.
Go back and look how long it took the Celtics to, back when Larry Bird retired, how long it took them to be significant again. When the Lakers lost Magic,
Paul Pierce and
how
Kevin
long it took
Garnett.
them. The only franchise that has flipped this quickly, because I did that when LeBron left the first time, I did all this research.
Miami.
No, Utah. When Utah lost Stockton and Malone, They flipped everything, and they were back in the conference finals like 4 years later. That's when they stole Carlos Boozer from Cleveland.
Oh, with Darren Williams and them. I can't believe
and
it.
they didn't win it.
Right.
But they were back.
AK-47
They were
there?
back
Yeah.
they were back in the conference finals within like 4 or 5 years of Stockton Malone retiring, which was, and again, cold weather, small market, not a big free agency hotbed. What Utah was able to do was really impressive, and no one had really replicated that. And now the Cavs have come along. Now that doesn't count OKC, obviously losing their 3 MVPs because that happened after I did the research. But they lost the 3 MVPs. They were able to flip it, and it took them right around in that same window a little bit longer because obviously the Thunder traded Harden in them before the Cavs won the championship and had to tear it down. So to do it as fast as he's done it, he has done a very, very good job. I don't know how that can be disputed.
All right, let's get to FanDuel.